Carol here, and today I would like to welcome you back from Mercury retrograde. It's now September 5th and Mercury retrograde has ended. And as a opening remark for your consideration, I ask you to notice when Mercury retrograde goes in and out. It's for everyone, it's not for any particular sign. And see if you notice, like I do, that whenever Mercury retrograde ends, all of a sudden you start getting ideas and you get more productive and you just feel like yourself again. You know, I'm not really one to believe in horoscopes, but out of a continual noticing that Mercury retrograde seemed to affect me, I've been watching it for several years and I do notice that it affects me. So, end of fun tips. Now we're going to go to today's talk. We're going to talk about 10 ways that I have found help an empath, such as myself, to survive and thrive, that is, to protect ourselves in the world. Because we can't avoid going out and buying our groceries, going to work, being with family and that sort of thing. And they're in no particular order. The first is, now this is after you've been affected, or if you come home and you're completely exhausted from fields and you want to just like somehow go back to neutral, take a shower or swim, or at least if you can escape the bad meeting and you have a few minutes alone in the bathroom where you have like a space around you with no people, wash your hands. And water is a conductive medium which will neutralize any static electricity, of course, but it also acts to definitely block anything coming in because it acts as a Faraday cage. And I think that maybe it's psychological that you feel like your troubles are going down the drain, but every person I've ever talked to that has bad, like empath symptoms, or you could call them empath powers, they say that taking a shower always makes them feel better whenever they're feeling bad. And they're all usually feeling bad from being around bad vibes. And this would also include not only the vibes from other people, which is typically what a lot of the YouTube videos for empaths talk about, is how to protect yourself from other people's vibes, but also from equipment, from electrical equipment such as computers, transformers, fluorescents, even car motors, and anything that's not nature is going to produce a harmful electromagnetic field that is not productive for life. You can say there's two forces in the universe. One is electromagnetic fields that are positive and good, that help life grow, like from the sun and from the energy you get from water and trees and all nature that we evolved with. And that's good electromagnetic fields. And then the bad ones, you could call it good and evil. The bad fields are from electricity, any kind of electromagnetic device such as a cell phone, which emits microwave radiation. And even when you hold it away from your head, you're still getting it into your hand and your arm and your whole body. Cars, if they're not diesel, will emit electromagnetic field. And in fact, everything that's matter emits an electromagnetic field, just to be clear about that. But again, it's the good ones and the bad ones. And if you have a bad electromagnetic field that's affecting your good electromagnetic field, it's going to decrease your life force a little bit. You could say that it would make a flower wilt, it would make a tree turn brown, and it would make a human body feel bad, feel tired, feel drained. So we want to protect ourselves. So we're on item number 1, and that's take a shower, wash your hands, or go for a swim. My favorite would be to dunk myself into the ocean and body surf for a while. I mean, that would take any state of mind that I'm in into an ecstatic state of bliss, especially if the sun's out and the water's clear, so that I'm not afraid of fish underwater. Okay, the second tip is to go out in trees or nature. Now, it is true that trees do hold a lot of water, so if you're surrounded by trees, you're going to be protecting yourself from any electrical power lines that may be nearby, because again, it acts as a Faraday shield or a Faraday cage around your body, And that's just, if you have yourself in a metal cage, that metal, according to when you took high school physics, has to always be at the same electrical potential. So that if you had any wire inside, it wouldn't, like a radio wire, wouldn't pick up any electrical reception from the outside, because if this whole voltage is the same, of the spherical cage that you're in is the same voltage, there's no electrical field gradient in there, so there would be no movement of the electrons in the wire. And so you would be, again, shielded, like those metal canopies that people drape over their beds so that at night they have no like currents being induced in their body from external fields. That is from, that's because they're using a Faraday shield or a Faraday cage around their body caused by a metallic mesh material. But trees do that for you, trees. And if there are no trees and you're just out in nature, you're usually going to be away from electricity and people. And so add to that the soothing nature sounds of birds and everything. And just being alone, being away from people, away from power lines, that's going to be very healing. Also, the smell of pine has been shown scientifically to lift the mood and energize one. Take you from a tired, sad state to a energized, happy state. The smell of pine. So you could actually use aromatherapy of pine. Perhaps cedar would do the same thing, the outdoor smells. And then a third is directly just get away from people and electricity and just have space around you, wherever you may be. If there's a big parking lot with nothing in it, go in the middle and you should feel some relief. Okay? Another thing is, if you're immersed in a crowd and you can't get out, like say if you're in the subway and all of a sudden you just become overcome with either nausea or anger or just a bad feeling that's just like, God, you either feel sick or just like in a bad mood, all of a sudden you become pessimistic, just know that it's not you. Like if that ever happens, try to remember to ask yourself, I wonder if this might not be me. The other day, I was sitting in a Target Starbucks, drinking my, matcha tea and having my little chocolate, and I was just like in bliss, and then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, for no reason at all, I felt extremely nauseous. And there was no reason for it to happen because everything was good, the ambient sound was good. There were some children twittering away, talking nearby, and just all the things that make me feel good. So I glanced to my left, and sure enough, there was a woman standing there, kind of, impatient, waiting for her drink. And it suddenly occurred to me, it was an intuitive hunch, that she was in distress. And it came into me, and it made me kind of sick, actually. And so I got up and left and walked around a little bit, and it was completely gone. So I'm just saying that if you're an empath, you need to realize that it's not always you. In fact, it's probably usually not you. How often are we empaths sitting alone in our zone and suddenly overcome with a feeling of ick or nausea? In my case, that's what happened to me. Or, panic or anything. It doesn't happen. Come on. It only happens when we're in crowds. Or even near one person, So know that it's not you. That's a nice thought to have, because then you can not worry so much about it, and you know that when you leave, it will go away. Now, if you can't leave and you have to endure, I have a few tips. One is, why is it that external vibes influence empaths so much? I have another video, part 1 and part 2 of Empaths, that tries to address some of these. And a lot of the discussion focuses on our Faraday cage, our natural Faraday cage of our skin, perhaps is weak. Or you could say advantageously weak, if you think that empaths have, powerful properties, which, we do. Depends on how you look at it. Unfortunately, in this world, it is difficult to be an empath. So I'm never going to say that it's a gift. I would never wish it on anyone. But many of us who are empaths try to see the silver lining. And let me move on to my point here. I'm still on number 4. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, here's how you repel external vibes that are negative. You imagine a shield of lavender light around you, or rose light, or, that's fine if it works for you. But you know what? It doesn't work for me. It's too frou-frou. I am a scientist, and I want real answers. I want a feasible explanation of why something would work. So, as a physicist studying physics and understanding how important intention is, I hypothesize, I'm not alone in this hypothesis, that our intention affects the electromagnetic fields around us, and especially in our own bodies. So if I intend to put my attention into my body, not out there, but into my body, how do my feet feel? Where do they begin and end? How do my hands feel? Where do they begin and end? Just the dotted line around my skin. How does that feel? And focus on it. And, you could even pretend there's a plane, like an MRI scanning plane, going through your body and scanning your body. And just notice what does it feel like to have eyebrows and eyes and nose. You don't have to move them, but just feel them, sense them, and go, oh, I sense my lips, I sense my chin, I sense my neck, I sense my shoulders, and all the way down to your feet. And then I call that being in your body. Eckhart Tolle talked about this a lot, about being in your body. He suggested doing that to prevent illness. Like if you feel like you're coming down with something, that's his method of helping your immune system fight an illness that's starting to come. He suggests being in your body, and this is his exercise, where you just feel, I'm describing it maybe differently than his, this is how I do it, but where you just feel yourself. I usually start with my hands and feet, because they're the furthest away, and then kind of work inward, and just keep feeling my body, and almost like a ball of light is traveling through my body into different parts of awareness. And one of the things, it takes my awareness out there, which is like where the distressing souls are that are bothering me, out in the crowd, and it puts my awareness here. And I believe what's happening is that when you're aware of your body, I'm sort of like given a heuristical hand-waving type explanation. Like I do believe that my intention does affect my body, and if I'm thinking about something over there versus thinking about something over here, even if it was just in my brain, something's changing because I'm thinking about over there versus over here. So if I'm thinking about over here, something's changing in my body, something physical. And whether it's in my brain or it's actually my entire body, I think it's both. And that is going to make you stronger and, I hypothesize, emit your own field. Your own field is now so strong that nothing can penetrate. Or if it does penetrate, it's just that my volume is tuned up so loud. In other words, the amplitude of any of my electromagnetic field peaks that my body is emitting, such as my heart rate will cause blood to pump through it, and as a result, my heart will emit an electromagnetic field around it. And, as measured by an EKG, for example, my brain will emit a field around it as measured by EEG. So our bodies emit these fields, and those will all be made stronger, I hypothesize, if you are concentrating on your body. So a bit of a long explanation, but I felt like it was deserving of it, because that's really the key exercise to do, to strengthen your field so that other people's fields don't come inside of yours. So just remember, be in my body, be in my body. That's all you have to remember. You don't have to remember any physics. And that should also help you not be so much a victim of other people's fields. Now, my weakest point, when I'm in a crowd and I feel other people's, whether it's their anxiety or their anger or whatever it is, it manifests in me personally as a pain in my side here, usually on the right side, but sometimes it's over here, just somewhere in my solar plexus. And I'm always, doing this to kind of like protect it with because I have blood flow in both arms, right? And that blood flow is acting as a Faraday cage, and it actually does feel better. The pain does go away. So when I'm in a crowd and I feel that little twinge of pain, I'm going to do this, and all those people out there that are saying, oh, she's closed off, screw them. Who cares? I'm protecting my solar plexus with my hands across my stomach. You know, I don't have, I'm cool, you know. Hey man, I'm just putting my hands across my stomach. If anyone says, hey, why are you so closed off? I'll say, hey, I'm not closed off. I'm just protecting my solar plexus. So, you know. All right. If you maybe are different than me and you might get some other kind of a pain, you know, consider protecting that part of the body. Now, along this same line, this is item number 5, covering your physical region that might feel pain from outside influences. I think that I should do a whole other video on this topic, and that topic would be a subset of putting your hands over your area, and that is, what if you can't do that and you want to still protect a certain region? Like for me, I've thought, what is there a solar plexus shield that I can just wear? And I tried leather, cotton, wool, and gemstones. And by gemstones, I mean specifically the semi-precious gemstones that emit infrared ray. And if you measure them in an FTIR, Fourier transform infrared analysis machine, you will see that they have a high peak around 8, 9, 10 millimeters wavelength. That's actually not visible light. That's of a lower frequency than visible light. So it would be in the mid-infrared range. Near, mid, and far infrared, all of that, the near, mid, and far infrared rays are what our bodies naturally emit. So if you're in your body, you're going to be naturally emitting these near, middle, and especially far infrared rays. They're light waves, or you could say electromagnetic waves with those frequencies. A lot of us use light to mean electromagnetic waves, and some light is visible and some isn't. Like some flowers, I shouldn't say that, some bugs can see ultraviolet light, so they can go to the flowers that have ultraviolet light color, but we can't see that, but it's still light. Actually, most gems do absorb, most crystalline materials do absorb and re-emit in that frequency. I'll just say one more thing about that. I would like to make and sell devices that help other empaths as a protective shield that you wear under your clothes and you don't tell anybody about it, and they're like secret little things that you wear over your solar plexus if you're like me and you feel pain there from external influences. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. I'm also testing a leather, here it is right here, a leather device. It's not very comfortable, but it's like a necklace, and it covers just that area. And I mean, this, you know, works. And my theory about this is it is made out of protein, and protein also has peaks in that same region of the infrared range. And cotton and wool do as well. So wool tends to be really good, and I'm also inventing a nice little wool pillow. And my first prototype is a pink kitten head, like, you know, like a Hello Kitty. It's like a head. It's made of wool, and it's pink cashmere, so it's really soft and cuddly, and it's filled with wool. And when I hold it there, of course, it feels so good and everything. But, of course, you can't do that in public unless you're, like, super, super go-getter, you know, brave person. And I'm not that brave, you know. So a sweater made out of cashmere might be a good thing to wear if you're in the wintertime. And I being an empath, I'm also very sensitive to things that touch me. And so I love wool, but it has to be cashmere because the fibers are small enough to where it doesn't scrape your skin. So cotton is another natural fiber, and it turns out all the natural fibers like cotton, hemp, linen, they all absorb water to the extent that they will emit in the, I think it's mid, it might be near, but near to mid-infrared. Anywhere in that infrared range is going to be a protective and healing and soothing effect. And that's why cotton is so comfortable. And that is my, I guess, hypothesis why polyester feels so terrible, because it doesn't emit in that range. But polyester isn't really bad, it's just not good. It's just like neutral. Something that's bad is nylon. It makes me feel terrible, like it's like a poison when I have it against my skin, and I don't know why yet, but I believe it might be because like if you wanted to have some kind of a test to measure why, it would be because the FTIR test results have this weird mix of peaks that your body can detect. Because every time there's a peak in an FTIR plot, it means that it absorbs and re-emits in that field. And so not only that, but it converts other energies into that energy. So it's kind of like an amplifier of that particular frequency. And when you have the combination that nylon offers, something about that makes the body feel icky. And it certainly makes me feel icky, to where it's like this irrepressible urge to want to just take the nylon sweater and throw it away, which I have done on numerous occasions. I almost hit someone in the head once. Just kidding. Okay, not that a sweater would hurt anyone, but might cover their eyes while they're driving. All right, well, I've covered the first 5. We've got 5 to go. The sixth one is not a remedy as much as to note planetary effects. Now, I guess I'll say planetary / star effects. And I'm not being New Age here at all. I am being completely scientific, thank you very much, because as I said in the beginning of the video during my fun tip section, I have found, and many others have found, that Mercury retrograde does something to our mental capacity. And as a physicist, you know, I can clearly tell you that if you have heavy, massive bodies around you, and they're all going one way, then the gravity, which is just etheric acceleration, accelerating into those planets, is going to accelerate into those planets that are moving in the same direction, and the sum of that etheric acceleration, which would be like a vector field that you sum, all the arrows are going to be in the same direction, and that goes through you and into them. You feel that, right? And so I'm simplifying it, but let's just say 2 planets, okay, or the sun and a planet. And so if they're moving in the same direction, you have all those vectors of etheric acceleration going through you like this. Now, let's just say Mercury decides to go retrograde, and even though it's doing a circle, you know, like this, we see it going retrograde, and in fact, it is moving backwards because it goes, you know, it's orbiting the sun, and then it goes back like that, and then it goes back to its orbit. So when it's moving this way, even though Mercury is happy, we see the sun going this way, so those etheric flux vectors going into the sun, which is its gravity, go that way. But then Mercury, let's just say it's going retrograde in front of us to make the effect stronger for purposes of illustration. So the sun's going this way and Mercury is going this way, and its etheric acceleration vector fields, the arrows are pointing in the opposite direction. What does that do to us? We feel those vectors all the way from here because every body's etheric acceleration vector field goes out to infinity. And so we're looking at the etheric acceleration vector field vectors of the sun and Mercury and how they affect us. Sun's going that way, Mercury's going this way, so the sun's vectors are going that way, Mercury's vectors are going this way. What does that do to the etheric acceleration? Well, if you have a stream of water going this way and a stream of water going this way, what happens? You get turbulence in between because you have a lot of shear, and if the velocity of the water gets above the Reynolds number, you're going to get turbulence, and you're going to get like what would seem to be, instead of a nice laminar flow or the same flow going the same direction, like a beautiful river going gently down a stream, not making any noise because there's no rocks, you're going to have the opposite. You're going to have turbulence. You're going to have 2 jet streams of water going the opposite direction with a lot of turbulence. That's what we feel. And for some reason, Mercury, maybe because of it's a certain distance of the size scale of the turbulent whirls in the etheric flux, are the size scale that affects the part of our brain that makes us feel mentally in control. Who knows what it is? Maybe one day we'll know. But I'm just saying the heuristic explanation of what's going on is what I've just said. I do ask you to please notice when Mercury goes retrograde and then it ends, do you all of a sudden feel amazingly ready to share your ideas, ready to make a video, for example? Look at me, I'm making a video. I haven't made a video in so long. The entire Mercury retrograde, I couldn't even edit my book. I'm telling you, I have this short little book that I'm editing on the shelves very soon, as soon as I can get my butt to finish editing it. But like, it would take me like, okay, here's a real busy page. It would take me like 1,000,000 hours just to edit this one page. I mean, I diligently worked on it every day, just a little bit, and I just couldn't get, it was like opening a book made of lead. I just couldn't open the pages. I just wanted to sit around and watch educational videos. So number 6 is for empaths to help protect yourselves. If you notice what's going on with the planets and know what affects you, you can kind of plan. Like, now that I know Mercury retrograde is weird, I didn't suffer about it at all. I thought it was quite interesting, and in fact, it validated my hypothesis, personally for me. Okay, another thing is, we're talking about planets and stars, is the sunspot activity can affect a lot of things, not just power outages, but those big electromagnetic field surges plus the X-ray flux that comes from it can affect us as human beings, and especially empaths. So if you feel like really antsy for no reason, say if you're living alone with your loved one in a cabin and you feel antsy for no reason, go to NOAA.com, NOAA.gov, and type in the search bar, Space Enthusiasts Dashboard, and it'll take you to a dashboard, and you can see this bar graph and see what the K value is for the geomagnetic energy. And I bet you anything it'll be red bar. If it's a green bar, it's kind of low. You know, if it's yellow, it's a little bit high. But if it's a red bar, and you have to feel first and then check, because otherwise it might be a placebo effect. If you feel real anxious for no reason, go there and look. If it's a red bar, then you can go, Dr. Carol was correct in her hypothesis. I have to mention this. Earth storms, such as the evil wind, which is like a dry wind coming in off the desert or something, brings with it positive ions. And positive ions have been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt to make humans feel bad. And bad mood, lowers your immune system, just makes you feel bad. And negative ions make us feel really relaxed and happy, and it does healthy things for your body. It does all sorts of good things. I used to study that many, many years ago. I don't know all the details anymore. I'll put all those details in my pensive for you Harry Potter fans. Now the 7th one is to be stronger and less affected by external electromagnetic fields. Work out regularly, because when your body's in tip-top shape, you're going to have better circulation, and that's the key. If the better your circulation is, the better your Faraday cage is, and the better of a field you emit. And also it's been shown that working out is good for your heart, and the stronger and more healthy your heart is, the better, stronger field that it will emit, because everything has a field, and the stronger your heart is, the stronger the field, because the more blood's going through it, the bigger the electromagnetic field will be that it generates. Because blood is charged, and when you have flowing blood, you have flowing charge, and everybody knows that a moving charge generates an electromagnetic field around it. So, Physics 101. So work out. And also, just as a subset of that, I was reading up on AFib, because I have a friend with AFib, atrial fibrillation, which is like your heart sort of just like the atrium sort of flutters a lot, and it can feel bad and make you feel bad, and some people even have surgery for it. So I was just reading up on it. A recent study has shown that the people that did the aerobic protocol, which was 30 minutes 3 times a week of interval training, you could do treadmill or walking. I'm going to do biking. I decided to start doing interval training rather than just random working out, and that would help me not get AFib. You know, like you can prevent getting it. Anyway, they showed that if you did this protocol versus just random working out, you would have less of a chance of ever getting AFib, and it was very significant. So, yeah, so do interval training, aerobic interval training, and do that 3 times a week. So that would be good for you to do that. And also I'm saying that if you do that, you're going to get better circulation, because that's what you're doing, is you're making your circulation better all over, including your heart, and prevents all sorts of diseases. And it also prevents people affecting you negatively, because your Faraday cage is stronger and better, and the fields you emit are stronger. All right, so working out. And then moving on, number 8, supplements. Well, it turns out that St. John's wort is an antidepressant, It's also a blood thinner, and other blood thinners are fish oil, turmeric, garlic. There's a whole ton of them. Just Google it. And those will help circulation because they're thinning your blood. I wouldn't say take them all, but if one of those you like to take anyway, like garlic, well, just knowing that it's a blood thinner might make you want to take it more often. Another supplement is theanine, which is a relaxing. It's like that's what's in tea, green tea, and that's why green tea doesn't make you get the jitters. That's what scientists hypothesize, is because the theanine in there is very relaxing, so it counteracts the caffeine in the tea. So theanine is in pill form, and I notice when I take the pills, I do indeed feel kind of blissed out. But it's not something that I like to take every single day because it's just not natural, and there's no reason for it, you know. So every day, every now and then, if I feel like, oh, today's going to be stressful, I think I'll take a couple theanines, you know, and then a couple hours later it kicks in and I'm blissed out. So like if I knew I was going to be on like a Subway or something, I might take it just for fun, but I don't think I'll ever renew my bottle because I drink enough green tea, you know. So that's the theanine. And then another thing that's completely legal is CBD extract in hemp oil. And you need to get kind of the full spectrum, because one time I had pure CBD oil that was like from Dixie, and it made me really depressed and terrible. And I thought, CBD isn't for me. But then I got some stuff in Texas that was in hemp oil, and it was like full spectrum supercritical extracted, supercritical carbon dioxide extracted, mixed in with hemp oil as a diluent. And you take 1 ml, and that's 3 milligrams of CBD, which is cannabidiol, and that is a component in cannabis that is completely legal, non-psychoactive, but it does tend to relax your muscles, and it's an anti-inflammatory. And so I've been taking it, I've done it for 3 nights in a row now, taking it before sleep, and it just really does make me sleep nicely and relax. The main thing is it just makes my muscles relax, you know, but it's not like valerian root where it makes me feel terrible. Just, I don't even notice it. It just makes me relaxed. So that's kind of new for me. But I'm just throwing that out there as, you know, a natural remedy. And maybe cut back on the caffeine so you won't be all jittery anyway. Like coffee, for example. And then, of course, we have to talk about food. So, of course, we want to eat a healthy diet. Vegan is preferable. But, you know, I say vegan, but, you know, there's a lot of people that require high-protein diets, like type O's in particular. And, or people that really have to avoid carbs. They usually will need more protein. And the thing about type O's they've found, if you read the literature, is that, and this is one of the few times where genetics actually does affect you. Most of the times it's epigenetics, that's the major factor. But this genetic predisposition causes your adrenaline to build up. The point is that if you eat a high protein diet, that enzyme works better for you. And then for whatever reason, blah, 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 biochemistry, fill it in with the big 20 million paragraphs, you get more dopamine. And everybody knows dopamine makes you feel good. It's just like the basal feel-good chemical. It's not like the intellectual serotonin feel-good, where it's sort of like you have this logical reason why you feel good, and it's like connected to people and all. No, it's just this limbic reptilian basal feel good or feel bad, you know, just that. Yeah, so that feel good feeling, dopamine, you need that. And so type O's need a lot of protein in order to get a lot of dopamine naturally in their body. So point being that some people require fish in their diet, or lots of protein like eggs, or, I mean, I'm not saying lots like 20 eggs a day, but like 3 eggs on Monday and 3 eggs on Friday, or 2 eggs on Monday, 2 eggs on Friday, something like that, you know. Or if you, because I don't think eggs are cruel. They're not, you know, they can actually be non-cruel. So if you're vegan and you have a few eggs, you know, hey, you know, who cares, you know, right? Because you're not hurting anyone, right? And then some people, like in the winter, I like to eat buffalo maybe once or twice, even though I know that the animal has been sacrificed. But I need that meat to be my best mentally and energetically, especially in a cold climate. And so, you know, I have a way that I can eat meat and be healthy about it because I eat natural meat, grass-fed meat. I give thanks. I'll put it this way. I give thanks to the animal. You know, that animal knows that I'm thankful for it. Okay, I'll put it that way. Because I don't really think that it's wise to be killing animals and causing them to suffer. Okay, enough said. Shh. We are going to the last thing. This is the most important one of all. Breathe. Breathe. Our most important muscle, maybe next to our heart, is our diaphragm. Because our diaphragm is what helps us to breathe. The reason why breathing helps you to repel or protect yourself from bad fields around you is it helps your circulation, and when you increase the oxygen in your blood, it alkalinizes your blood because it replaces the acidic carbon dioxide. You have lower viscosity blood, which flows better, and more oxygen means more oxygen to your cells, which gives you more ATP, which gives you more energy and makes you feel better. And the lower viscosity helps the blood flow through the microcapillaries more easily, so less energy is required for your heart to pump it through all the extremities and brain as well. And when you have better circulation, you have a better Faraday cage around your body, which protects you from external fields. And you also emit a better electromagnetic field. You're stronger, you have a stronger field, which would then be like a louder volume, which overpowers the fields coming into you. And now the fields coming into you are weaker by definition because any person, no matter how bad they feel, they're far away from you. Whereas you're right here, you're close, and so any field you emit is going to go into your body, you know, orders of magnitude more in amplitude than some other person, unless they're pressed up against you, and then it might be like a factor of 2. You might be 2 times more. I'm guessing, you know, 2 times more of an electromagnetic field amplitude than the person pressed up against you. But if they're like, you know, a foot away, or even, you know, 6 inches away, like in a movie theater, you're going to be your own field is going to be a lot stronger to your body than anyone else's, which is good to know. You know, it's kind of a reassuring thought that you are in control of your own field. Well, and so I suggest that we all practice deep breathing as often as we can by first, when you notice that, oh, I'm breathing shallow, or oh, I'm in a crowd and I don't feel good for whatever reason, or any time that you think of it, you just, all of a sudden, just exhale completely. Because if you go like this, everybody around you will go, what's wrong with you? Why are you gasping, you know? Because that's what I used to do. But now I exhale. I just quietly, discreetly exhale all the way. Nobody even knows you're doing it. Why is laugh therapy so fantastic? Is because it empties your lungs, right? And then it causes you to take a deep breath. Well, plus it's psychologically fun, right? So you could either laugh, or if you're in a place that's improper to laugh, you could do deep breathing. So start out by exhaling completely, and then inhaling, preferably through your nose. I'll explain why in a minute. You exhale again completely. Breathing in that good as prana. And, you know, you can hold it. That strengthens your diaphragm, as does exhaling completely. And you want to do at least 3 breaths, but preferably 5. See, if you just do 1 breath, you haven't completely replenished your oxygen supply. There's still stagnant air in there. But when you do it 3 full times, I think you get the majority of the air recirculated with fresh air, fresh, unbreathed air. And so I would say 3, but preferably 5 breaths like that. Now, the laugh therapy, there's this videotape by Alan Watts. After this, you just have to Google it. You just have to go to YouTube and type in Alan Watts laugh. He's like all serious. Hello, class. Let's all just laugh. And then all of a sudden he starts laughing. He goes, you're listening and you're going, do I really want to listen to this? And then the next one, and he starts throwing in these little funny, like, all the different ways people laugh, you know, like, in all the different ways. It's like so funny. And it goes on like for like, I think it's only 3 minutes, but I swear, even at the end of 3 minutes, I don't even have to try. I have tears streaming down my face when I listen to it. I should listen to it every morning before I put my makeup on. And it's just like so fantastic. So there's laugh therapy for you. And that's in this episode of Breathing Deep. So if you're alone and you feel bad, and or even if you're on the subway, who cares? You got earplugs in? They'll think you're listening to some comedy guy. You know, people are probably going to go, ooh, what's so funny? Who you listen to? I want to turn it on my station, you know? So you could just start laughing. Of course, you could be taken to an insane asylum too. So be careful. Be careful where you laugh. Or people might think you're laughing at them. Well, that's the end of my 10, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have, especially that laugh part. I'm feeling really good after doing that. And I made a fool of myself, but I really don't care anymore because it's no longer Mercury retrograde, so I can be myself again. So peace, everybody. Until next time.